We're now looking for that second set to start opening.
First set of hooks are open. Dragon is committed to undock.
Station copies.
You just heard Capcom Scott Sagatti relay to Shane Kimbrough that the first set of hooks are now open, and we've committed to undocking. Once all hooks are open, we'll be looking for a series of undock burns that are super short, and when I say short, I just mean seconds at a time. The first one lasting about 2 seconds, and the second lasting about 5.
All hooks open.
Copy. Physical separation confirmed.
All hooks are now open, and Dragon departed the space station at 8:12 with physical separation. You're getting a live view of it inching away now. Dragon undocked at 8:12 while the International Space Station was flying over the Pacific Ocean. And we just got confirmation that the departure burn was nominal.
Dragon separation is confirmed, and Dragon departure burn 0 complete.
Station copies.
The first set of departure burns has been complete, and it was nominal. We're now waiting on the next departure burn, scheduled to occur in about 5 minutes.
Zone 2 for UPA. UPA is configured for recycle tank drain. Go to proceed with commander drain.
Copy, Aki.
Dragon has 16 Draco thrusters that'll be used to guide Dragon away from the space station during its departure burns. 4 of these Draco thrusters are underneath the nose cone and will be used for burns as it gets closer to Earth. These initial burns will be completed by the remaining 12 Draco thrusters on the service section of the capsule.
Houston Station Step 4, ISS thrusters enabled.
Copy.
These departure burns help Dragon move out of the space station's keep-out sphere. This is an imaginary sphere about 200 meters in radius around the space station. It's one of several safety zones set up to govern visiting spacecraft, such as Dragon, either arriving or, in this case, departing the space station. Before moving into the keep-out sphere, the spacecraft must have been configured in a way that it would not cross this imaginary boundary for at least 4 orbits, even if the spacecraft lost all maneuvering. Dragon is expected to leave the keep-out sphere in about 3 minutes.
Departure burn 1 complete.
Station copies, and it looks great in the corridor.
Copy that.
The second in a series of departure burns has been completed, and it was nominal, and we're waiting for Dragon to leave the keep-out sphere.
Dragon has exited the keep-out sphere.
Station copies. Houston Station on 2 for Dragon. I want to give a huge thank you to the SpaceX and the NASA teams for getting this vehicle up to us in great shape, with a lot of science and surprise for the ISS. The activities associated with SpaceX 23 kept our crew busy over the past month. We look forward to hearing about the results of the payloads we interacted with. Have a safe journey back to Earth.
Great word, Shane. Thanks for that right there, and thank you to the whole crew for all the work you've done for this mission.
Dragon has officially exited the keep-out sphere at 8:19 Central. Capcom's Capcom Scott Sagatti relayed this information to Shane Kimbrough, who gave some well wishes to Dragon on its departure and words of thanks to the NASA and SpaceX teams who keep scientific investigations going on the International Space Station through the Commercial Resupply Services program. Dragon's next milestone on its journey is to exit the approach ellipsoid. This is another imaginary shape, like the keep-out sphere. This time it's more three-dimensional and pizza box shapes. It's an ellipsoid measuring 4 by 2 by 2 kilometers. One of the key differences in the approach ellipsoid is that vehicles outside of it have to be on what we call a 24-hour safe drift trajectory. That means the spacecraft would not cross into the approach ellipsoid for at least 24 hours, again, in the unlikely event that Dragon loses all maneuvering. We anticipate that Dragon will reach this milestone in approximately 10 minutes. As we're waiting for Dragon to leave the approach ellipsoid coming up in about 9 minutes from now, let's take some questions on social media. We have Esther on Twitter asking if there will be any tardigrades coming back on Dragon. While there will not be any tardigrades coming back on this Dragon, there are a number of other scientific experiments coming back. First being the anti-atrophy test, which is a JAXA experiment that looks at biomaterials that could slow the loss of muscle and biomaterials that could accelerate muscle growth. These two cultures will be returned to Earth on Dragon, so researchers can look at the effectiveness of biomaterials that they tested. Research like this can help not only space station astronauts who undergo muscle atrophy in space, but also people on Earth who may suffer from muscle loss. Another experiment we have coming back is the ring shear drop experiment. This looks at the forces of gravity on liquids in containers. When thinking about the body, this might mean blood in your arteries. This device uses surface tension rather than a solid container with walls to hold liquids. Then when they use this to test protein aggregates that could be linked to diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and type 2 diabetes. Results could improve fundamental understanding on how these protein aggregates form and are transported in the body. In addition to these experiments coming back, we've got some equipment coming back as well, such as the critical connector caps and plugs that were necessary during the installation spacewalks for the International Space Station rollout solar arrays. They're being returned for storage and use for future upgraded solar array installations, and the next set of IROSAs are scheduled to launch the space station next year. We're now about 5 minutes out from Dragon exiting the approach ellipsoid, which is the neighborhood of the space station. After Dragon leaves the approach ellipsoid, Mission Control in Houston will hand over control of Dragon to SpaceX's Mission Control in Hawthorne. From there, Dragon will complete a series of more departure burns and phase burns to direct Dragon back to Earth to splash down off the coast of Florida. As we wait for Dragon to leave the approach ellipsoid of the International Space Station, scheduled for about 8:31 Central Time, let's go over some of the things that Dragon had to undergo in order to get here. Remember that all of these commands are autonomously sent from Hawthorne, so the crew was not involved in these steps. After the undock command was sent, 2 umbilicals retracted and 12 hooks were undone, 6 at a time. Dragon then underwent 2 undock burns and 2 departure burns and has left the keep-out sphere of the International Space Station. Now that Cargo Dragon is undocked from the forward port of the station's Harmony module, this has created a space on the port that will be used by the Crew Dragon vehicle, launching with the Crew 3 astronauts later this month. 2 Crew Dragon vehicles will be on station together for a short handover period as we wait for Crew 2 to make their departure back to Earth.
Launch station on 2 for Astro-B.
We are with you on 2.
Do you mind if I turn off the Astro-B now, or do you want me to wait for the timeline?
And Mark, you can go ahead and abort that activity. We are going to leave it on.
Yeah, that's right. That came up with the DVC. I just forgot. Thanks very much. Station on 2 for FSL.
This is Munich. Go ahead, Thomas.
Alberto, I'm in activity 2.200. Step 1, you're welcome on board VCA 2. Starboard is pointed towards FSL. And step 2, looking for your go in the safing of step 2.2 complete. 2.1 for you.
And Munich copies, so that's all in place. The savings are okay, so you are good to continue with 2.2, the rack power switch. And for the communication, we should go on space to ground 4 for the communication for the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm going step 2.2, moving to 4.
Station Houston on 2. Dragon is outside the approach ellipsoid on a 24-hour safe free drift trajectory.
Station copies.
Dragon has now exited the approach ellipsoid. Vehicles outside of it have to be on what we call a 24-hour safe free drift trajectory. That means that we know for certain that Dragon will not cross into the approach ellipsoid into the neighborhood of the space station for at least 24 hours. So far, everything is on track. Today, Dragon released all 12 of its hooks and separated from the station at 8:12 a.m. Central Time, flying over the western Pacific Ocean. Conducted a series of burns first to exit the keep-out sphere, and is now on its way back to Earth. Once Dragon is back on Earth, it will splash down in one of 3 zones in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida. You're not going to see splashdown live, but our coverage will conclude once